you can learn a lot from Turkish Bazaar sellers, and the main thing that you'll learn is not actually what the product is. It's how to sell and how to negotiate in high-stress environments. Hello and welcome back to the Traveling Report. Today I wanted to go over why exactly Turkish Bazaars will inevitably give you a masterclass in negotiation and sales, and why the Turkish people are masterful negotiators in high-stress environments, and they often perceive the effects of their salesmanship before they happen. Now, I've been negotiating deals and contracts for the better part of 12 years. I first started creating businesses at 9 years old, and I will say that I still have a long way to go, and I do my best to learn and understand exactly what the strategies are that people employ and people use to create value in the totality of their business. And for Turkish sellers, I feel as if they are extremely unassuming, right? Because you think they are your friends, and this is how they get you. And then you get a horrid price. And this is common, right? And also, a lot of prices in Turkey are actually fixed, but of course, anything is negotiable. However, with Türkiye, you have sort of a expectation to barter even with prices on menus, right? Or on anything, right? And if you want something extra, you can get something extra 9 times out of 10. Now, I'm not saying that you can go into LC Waikiki and get an extra pair of pants for less cost. That's just not happening. Or McDonald's, right? A multinational. Not happening. But if you go into a mom and pop place, they may give you an extra tea, right? They may give you an extra simit or bide. It just depends on how you negotiate and how much they respect you. I typically get about 10% off, which of course eats into their margin. And Turkish people get fairly good margins. That said, with the inflation, their margins are slimmer and they are more cost conscious, right? And so, in essence, you get a cost-conscious culture now that still sells. And this leads to inflation, of course. And so, if you're looking for other videos on the inflation crisis, the Lira crisis, so forth, feel free to subscribe down below. I will be creating videos on the Lira crisis very soon, and I've already made some general hints towards the cause and effect of the Lira crisis. That said, of course, the main thing that happens with the Lira after obviously it went up is margins were crushed. And I went initially when the Lira was just collapsing. It was June of 2022, and the Lira was at, if I remember correctly, it was at 10-ish to the dollar. It's now at 40 to the dollar, roughly, a little bit more than that. And Turkish sellers adapted, and of course, tourists have always been Türkiye's cash cow, right? You have never had a instance where Turkish buyers are not cost conscious. You have never had a instance where Turks pay more than tourists. And in fact, quite the opposite. Turks tend to despise price rises. They tend to despise the lira getting devalued. And this is something that, of course, is very normal, right? You have people who don't want their country devalued, they don't want their currency devalued, and they don't want the ideation, right, of a collapsing currency. They saw what happened in Lebanon, they saw what happened in the former Soviet states with the lari, the dram, and these all created very strong senses of we need to avoid that. Well, they didn't avoid it. And sadly, it's happening in 2025. The lira continues to devalue. So, in essence, with the dollar, right? They try their best to give a price that they earn quite the margin. Typically on bazaars, if it's the Grand Bazaar, they're going to upcharge about 50%. In some cases, even 100. In the Egyptian Spice Bazaar, they may be at 30% margin. And so you get kind of a interesting dynamic where the margins vary based on the proximity, right, to which bazaar it's selling at. And so obviously, if you are a tourist in Türkiye, in Istanbul, I would recommend to go to the Egyptian Spice Bazaar as opposed to the Grand Bazaar really at all, unless you are looking to be scammed. There are some things that you can find at the Grand Bazaar that you can't find at the Egyptian Spice Bazaar. If you're looking for those services, look for them outside of the bazaar. If you're looking for a masterclass in sales, then of course go to the Egyptian Spice Bazaar. And of course, actually prices will be higher at the Egyptian Spice Bazaar than at a quote-unquote normal shop. I will put up the receipts. I paid 16,000 lira for all of the products I bought. Now, I went a little bit overboard as I wanted to buy things for my family. However, I got quite a bit of tea, quite a bit of Turkish delights, things like that. And it is more expensive than it once was in, 2022, 2023, 2024. It's going up quite substantially in price, even in dollar terms. And of course, I did not expect it to go up as much as it did, but you live and you learn. Realistically, I will take the hits. Of course, this was something that I'll put some videos up on screen. They are extremely good at salesmanship. They'll constantly give you tea, they'll give you, Turkish delights, baklava, stuff like this to keep you around. And then whenever they finally get you to buying, they will try to keep the price as much to the upside as possible. And of course, initially it was 17,006 something, right? So a bit over 17,600 lira, and I paid 1,600. That's about a 10% discount, and realistically, that's about as much as you'll get as a foreigner. However, of course, if you bring a Turkish friend along, which I probably should have, they'll give you a better price. That said, of course, if you're interested at all in learning about Turkish culture, or maybe moving to Turkey, or relocating some things to Turkey, feel free to reach out in the Calendly link down below. That said, if you liked this video, feel free to like it. If you really liked this video, feel free to share it with your friends. If you are looking for a way to join me on this journey of internationalization and globalization, feel free to subscribe. This has been the Traveling Report, signing off.